Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a flip through for you today. This is my completed journal for Silent Voices from Bythewell4god. I worked in an altered little golden book this month. I do have a setup video for that, and I want to share a flip through with you today. I have been scrambling to try to get this devotional done before the new kit release, in which, if you are watching today, Friday the 21st, it actually releases today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will put my affiliate link down below. Thank you to each of you who use that every month. It really does help me out. But I want to just jump in. I know that it's not necessary to have one finished, before the next one. It just makes my brain feel better to have this kind of wrapped up and put away before the new kit comes to my house. So I am going to flip through this. This was a journal that I kept pretty simple this month. Again, I was working in a little golden book, so I had to kind of change some of the pages. I gessoed some of them. So you'll see a lot of things kind of added in along the way. This first page here was actually a vintage ledger in the background that I actually used for some of the scripture writing this month. I used one of the journaling cards that came this month that actually had a verse here, which was perfect. And then I included one of the little flash cards, or my little flash cards and notes here in this little side tuck pocket. And these die cuts were obviously they were the white die cuts that we get every month, and instead of trimming them down, I just went around the edges of those with a Tombow marker just to kind of try to match the sort of vintage background paper so that they weren't the stark white. Sometimes I leaned into the really bright white against all of the color, but it just kind of depended on the page. In this instance, I wanted it to be vintage, so I did color those. This is page 2. And I actually went through and I put some distress crayon down, and then I activated that with some gesso, and that's kind of how I got that blending effect in the background. And then I came through with this stencil and some texture paste. This was my favorite stencil this month, so I used it quite a lot. Created a little pocket here with a spot for my flashcards with my notes. I used these journaling cards a lot for pockets, and you'll see that kind of all the way throughout. And wherever possible, I tried to actually save the numbers of the page numbers of this little golden book. So some of them you'll see, some of them I had to cover up. Like for instance, on page 3, this is actually a Bythewell4god paper that I put in the background. And then again, I just created a pocket and added my notes. And so basically every page kind of has a pocket with some various ephemera here. So this was page 3. Day 4 is one of the file folders. I created a pocket out of that, and I just glued down the sides here. I added one of those beautiful black and white ephemera pieces. I love the black and white pieces with like the bright color, that contrast. This month was really a lot of fun for me. This day was another day where I kind of used some distress products to create a background. Just because I needed to add some gesso and some things. I added some mixed media stamps. These were some old Bythewell4god stamps. And I'm just really trying to kind of mimic this. This was actually the inspiration for this page. And so I added one of these journaling cards as well. I just hinged this in with some washi tape. Just used the black and white washi, and then I have one of my verses there, and it just kind of actually tucks behind one of the journaling cards that's just tucked in there. It actually kind of just works to hold it down. And if you saw my my pictures on Instagram, I have come back through and added a little bit of just some more texture with some of the fabrics kind of throughout, just in random places. I just felt like it needed a little bit of something. I kind of do that sometimes at the end of a kit, depending, especially this month, I was really busy, and so some of my pages ended up being really simple, and so I kind of just came through and added some little, like this ruffle here I added just recently, and so it wasn't in the pictures, but I did add that. This page here was just simply one of the background papers. I loved this background paper. It might have been one of my favorites. And I loved the line work for the flowers. I loved the script in the background. And there was this little butterfly. I just came in with some distress crayon and my water brush, and I just colored in just the butterfly. I just left everything else in the background. And then I created kind of a double pocket out of this journaling card, which is really hard to tell what I did because I probably should have taken some pictures of it. But back behind here is actually a pocket that I made out of a piece of acetate, and that is what holds these flashcards up here in the top. And then I glued this pocket over the top of that. And that way I have some cards coming from this side. If I would have left this all open, these flashcards would have just kept falling down to the bottom. I wanted them sticking out the top. So there's actually a little piece of acetate that stops right about here, and it just holds those flashcards in there. I hope that makes sense. But it was just a way to kind of keep everything into this one pocket, which was kind of how I was trying to keep it focused, with kind of just one pocket with that held all of my notes. This day was another day where I used some paint and some stenciling. This is an old Bythewell4god stencil, the dots and dashes that I love this stencil. I used the kit stamp back here, and it's kind of hard to tell, but I actually stamped this in Hickory Smoke archival ink. I love how that kind of looked together. It just, I felt like went well with these ephemera pieces. And this is actually 2 of the ephemera pieces glued together and then glued down as a pocket to hold all of my notes and flashcards and everything in there. Day 8, I used one of the beautiful background papers, and then I created a little double pocket with these black and white ephemera pieces. I just really love the contrast of this with the black and white and the bright colors. That's just a personal thing. I just really like it. But so what I did is I glued, let me pull these out, you can kind of see. So I glued this first one down as a pocket to hold this journaling card. And then I glued this one over the top of it. And these 2 pieces are actually glued together just right on the edge. And then I left this section open. That way I could stack these little flashcards in there. And then I used one of the kit pieces here. This is actually just one ephemera piece that I cut in half so that it would kind of peek out the top and the bottom. This page was just one that I really wanted to get my hands messy with some mixed media. That's just my jam and I love it. So I started out with some collage paper in the background, which is really hard to tell, but it's some Tim Holtz collage paper. I glued that down with some matte medium, and then I came in over the top with that white light and fluffy modeling paste and that really great stencil that I love. And sometimes some of the areas I kind of distressed and kind of mushed them so it wasn't like a full-blown stencil area. And I also kind of wanted to leave this section, I don't know if you can kind of tell on camera, but there's like a little butterfly in that collage paper in the background. So I really wanted to kind of keep that just as much as I could. And then I just created a little pocket here. This is actually inked up with some acrylic inks, some, not Daniel Smith, I think they're Amsterdams. And the colors were very, very bright. Acrylic inks are, are very pigmented. So then I kind of came back in with a wash of some sand colored acrylic paint. And then I even came through with some, what is the color? It was just dress color, Scorched Timber, just for some of these really dark places. And I just kind of let it pool and do its own thing. And I love how this page turned out. But again, I really like that kind of mixed media look. This page I kept really simple with using a background paper and another one of the little file folders that I used as a pocket. I glued this one down sort of so that it's a double pocket. So I glued this so it holds all my flashcards and my shorter pieces, and then my journaling cards fit in the background back here. That way, added a little bit of trim up there and one of the clear stickers. This day was another day of just using all of the mixed media techniques that I love. Well, not all of them, but a couple. So this bright like teal color that you see is actually one of the acrylic inks that I used here in the background. You can kind of see it here. I had too much of it, and so I just came in and painted it onto this page. And then I went over that with that same sand colored paint from Dina Wakley. And it's just a really great color for kind of vintagey vibes, I guess, and it kind of just matched with this. And then it came over the top of all of that with a distress crayon and just kind of smudged it in some areas. And then I added some of those black and white clear stickers and created a little pocket down here with some of the pattern paper. And then down here are some more of those black and white stickers, or not black and white, excuse me. They're just, you know, clear stickers with the black outline. So that was for day 11. Day 12, kept this one super simple as well. Just added one of the beautiful background pages. And then I used an ephemera piece for my pocket here, and I just have my little items tucked in, and then again one of the ephemera pieces that coordinated. I do go at the beginning of every devotional for these kind of things, and the scripture cards that come in the devotional, I go through with my flashcards and the devotional, and I sort all of that in my gathering box. That way when I come to day 12, all of this is together and I can just pull it out. In fact, even these stickers I went through, and on the sticker page I just numbered which one they went, which day they went with. That way I make sure to use them if I wanted to on that day. So this day 13 and 14, this was actually an extra page that I needed to add into this devotional because this little golden book didn't have enough pages in it. So what I did is I actually took 2 of the pattern papers and I created a little hinge, which is actually hidden behind this page here. I don't know if you can really kind of see this kind of green right here is actually the back side of this paper. So what I did is I took about, I want to say it was like 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches or something like that. And I scored down the length of the paper and I glued that down here to sort of hinge this in. But then that left me with a page that was only this wide, obviously. So what I did is I took another piece of the pattern paper and I just glued that to make up the same, you know, the full side. So you have all of the paper that has the hymnal on this side, and then I just glued all of this down. In hindsight, I could have left that as a pocket. That actually would have been really clever, but I just didn't think of it at the time. I was really just focused on making this kind of hinge into my book and look like it was actually part of the book. But this is actually just an extra page that I needed to add here at the end. So this was for day 13. Again, just a little pocket here with the file folders and my notes. Again, I used that same Tombow on this piece just to kind of, because I didn't really have anything else that was like, you know, that bright white on this page. Added a little bit of the fabric down here at the bottom. And then page 14, the last day, I did add my title starter kind of over to the side because it was going to get lost in this pattern paper. And then I pulled some of these really just bright white flowers out kind of from the background, and I have them in a few places. And again, I did the same thing with this pocket where it's a really a double pocket. So I have my big journaling card back here, and then I have my smaller flashcards tucked in there, and the piece from the kit. So that is everything for me for this month. So I am finally finished with Silent Voices. If you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would really love to see you in my Facebook group as well. So consider joining that. That information will be in the description as well. And until next time, bye.